Hey everybody, my name is MetalMusicMan.
And I'm Professor Lex.
And this is episode 21.
Yeah.
Of the Lex podcast.
If our podcast was a year old for every episode we've done, it could drink. It could join us in drinking. Yeah.
I'm embarrassed at how long it took me to logic that out.
Translate what words I was saying.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed. So yeah, it's been a week for me. I was telling Lex in our little pregame here for the podcast that I actually did a lot of work today and yesterday, unlike most days at my job, which was really frustrating and terrible and horrible. In some ways, not. It wouldn't be so bad, but here's the reason. I have a couple work stories before we get into our main topic today.
Okay.
The reason I get frustrated when I get busy is not because I'm busy. Okay, I actually like when I have a project and I can do a project from start to finish. So the thing I'm doing right now is I'm upgrading our access points. I'm getting rid of all the old access points, which is for wireless, and I'm getting new ones. And I had already gone through the process of bidding and purchasing and all of this earlier in the year. They finally come in. It's kind of like IT nerd Christmas. You're like, ooh, all my new shit's in.
All your shit came in.
I get to unbox it. I get to set it up. I get to go run around, plug it in, put things in. And, running around unplugging things is kind of a pain in the ass. There were some minor technical hiccups. The new system's supposed to be fully compatible with the old system that I had, which it technically is, but some of the old access points that I have are too old and can't go to the new version, so I have to do this weird split thing. And anyway, there's shit like that was kind of frustrating. I had a couple dead Ethernet drops that I had to fuck around with, and I've got to mess with that on Monday. But for the most part, everything's been relatively smooth. But it takes a lot of time. You got to go around your whole building. You got to unplug shit, plug shit in. It's easy to set up one, but when you're doing 50 of them or whatever, and taking down 50 old ones, and then you're standing on chairs and drop ceiling particulates get in your eye, it's a whole thing. So anyway, this is the boring part that I'm skipping through. The annoying part that's fun because I'm angry and I hate humans is that, and what I hate about when I get into these projects is that people don't stop being annoyingly needy because I'm busy. And they have no concept of the relative severity of their shit. Or if their shit is severe, I'm annoyed because they clearly could have done it at another time. And it always seems to fucking coincide with when I'm in a project. I've had so many days in this summer that have been just dead nothing. And if I would have had things to do, I would have been doing them, but I didn't, Mm-hmm. And so what happened is during the last 2 days specifically that I've been working on this, and it'll happen again next week because I'm continuing to finish this project, I'm sure. But I've had people ask me for I need to get access to this file for this person who quit their job a month and a half ago, and I don't have access. And I'm like, motherfucker, this bitch quit a month and a half ago. And they're like, do you remember when you backed up all of this person's files? And I'm like, yeah, did I not give you access? They're like, well, I don't have access to this one. And I'm like, okay, I guess bad on me for not giving you, apparently, maybe either I missed something
every file.
Or I don't know, but why didn't you check this shit a month and a half ago? Why are you checking it now 2 fucking weeks before school starts? Oh, because you're a procrastinating piece of shit. And now I'm literally in the middle of plugging in some shit because there's no internet across our entire campus. And they're frantically fucking sending me messages about this shit. Please, as soon as you can, please assist me with this file. Or I was standing on top of a fucking counter, fucking screwdriver balls deep in a ceiling mount, fucking pulling the guts of a ceiling mount out of our ceiling, taking down an old access point. These two,
it's a strangely aggressively sexual way to describ putting up a wireless access point.
I may have had sex recently, so my
you may or may not.
I may or may not have. But the ceiling mount is fucking coming off, and there were some people having a board meeting. And they stopped in after this board meeting, and they're like, oh, hey, Will. And I'm balls deep in a ceiling mount. I'm like, hey, guys, I'm thinking they're just trying to be pleasant. Multiple people from this meeting decide that time is the best time to talk to me. This is the problem with when everybody thinks that you can just do everything and that you're great, I guess, or something. I don't know. They just have no concept, and they immediately start asking you this shit. So I'm trying to pull this ceiling mount out, and they're like, could you check on the blah, 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 and the blah, blah, blah? And it's just like last week where I'm like, why isn't this an email? I'm clearly in the middle of doing something.
You can see me important. busy.
I'm Yeah.
If they're not there, they can almost have the benefit of the doubt. Like maybe they didn't know you're in the middle of a really
exactly.
awful
But they're
shit.
watching you with their eyes. And then they went on. This was like a 20-minute conversation. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? I'm literally, this entire conversation, I'm standing on a counter with a screwdriver in the ceiling, just like trying to indicate that this is not the time. And it just keeps going on. Like, fuck, man. So yeah, anyway, I probably could have had this whole project done in like a day if it weren't for some of this shit, but that's been a pain.
Tragic.
And then the other obnoxious work thing that happened that I have to vent about is, and I don't know if anyone can even relate to this, but we got a new logo. And
hate it when that happens.
Well, okay, here's the problem. So I work for an old school, and our logo is shit by like logo standards. Like and this is a problem a lot of schools have. Their logo, quote unquote, is actually just their school seal. And a seal, nobody cares about seals anymore because like nobody takes stamped letters and whatever. But for a lot of schools, because like mobile design wasn't a thing, mobile phones weren't a thing.
They didn't have to plan for it.
Their logos are just their seals, and it never mattered, right? But seals make horrible mobile logos, horrible logos in general, because they don't scale down properly. There's too much detail in them. They have all kinds of tiny little lines and shit. They have like fucking words on them and like ornate, intricate borders and shit. So our logo had that problem, and we ended up like extracting the core elements of our seal out to be our logo for the last, I don't know, fucking however many years, 20 or some odd years. I don't like our logo. I have no love for it. It's a pile of garbage for all the reasons that any seal is. It's not good. It has lots of problems. But we replaced it with a logo that's just as fucking bad as that one. And so all it effectively does, it's actually worse in my opinion. It changed it? It's actually, yeah, all it does is alienate people who have like sentiment for the old logo.
Yeah, both of them.
And then it's not the worst logo of all time, but it's like a different color. The old one was like black and you could make it red, but this one we're going to make it this color red. But then the problem is like there's this weird split between like the website is me, but the logo is our PR director. And I actually really like our PR director, and I think she's like younger. She's doing her best she was given a task to get a new logo, which the old PR director was too. And I fucking was like, no, we shouldn't do this. All these logos are bad, and they are all bad. We got this new logo. I remember
you saying that.
Yeah, we got this new logo that's way better than all the other bad ones. But like, what does that mean? Like it's definitely better than all the really, really bad ones were. And in a vacuum, I guess you could say it's a slightly better logo for logo's sake than our current seal logo hybrid thing. But it's still a bad logo. It still doesn't scale well. It's jankily made by this stupid local designer who I hate, who we always work with. And anyway, it's been a pain because where this relates to, beyond me just bitching about it, is literally the second. I will reiterate that I really like our PR director, but like this is just indicative of like how this timing always works out. She is like, oh no, she has never frustrated me hardly ever. Like she's generally like way more intelligent and less annoying than every other person who's ever worked at my job. She's like fucking fantastic for the most part. But I literally like sit down, I unbox about, this is like Thursday or Wednesday. I unbox about, I don't know, 10 new access points. I start updating the firmware, and within like the first 40 minutes of me doing this, I get an email and she's like, hey, can you put this new logo on the website? And I'm like, what? Bitch, I gotta color all this shit red now because it's red and there's too much red. And I like, that's not just a button I click. I gotta re-fucking design our drop down menu.
Re-red everything.
I gotta fucking do all this shit. Like, no, I don't want to. Anyway, I did it. And it was.
Come on, Will.
It was horrible.
At this point, it's on you. That's your fault.
It took like 4 hours. And so that's why I'm behind on this project, because it's like, and like, again, she didn't know I was starting the switches, but I know she's been fucking with the logo, right, for a while.
Yeah.
And there were like several days last week and the week before where I wasn't doing jack, that I could have just done this and I wouldn't have been angry about it. So I don't know, people find a way to like, it's like they somehow know. They I swear to God. Yeah, I swear there's some like weird, you know how sharks can navigate? Like hammerhead sharks and birds can
water
they use electric currents and magnetism to like know where the poles are and somehow use their shark
triangulate
GPS. Dude, I swear to God, humans have this thing where they like know the worst possible time to fucking spring some shit on you. And then I'm like, do we really need to? And she's like, well, I guess it doesn't matter. And then she slides in at the end with, she goes, I guess it doesn't matter, but our weekly newsletter that goes out, I'd love for it to go out with that, which is Thursday. And I'm like, motherfucker, dude. Like,
she knew.
God,
she knew what you were saying.
God,
she could have saved you both some time and some running around behind each other if she had just been like, yeah, could you do it?
Yeah, probably.
rather than subtly manipulate you. Let you make your own judgment.
I think she didn't want to piss me off like as bad, which it just happens. But like she's worked here for a while now, and we've had like a very like this is like I would say I have hated this coworker perhaps the least of any coworker I've ever worked with, other than my old boss, who was like the best person of all time. And so I think she was like aware it was going to piss me off and was trying to like. But I don't know. I can't tell if it worked better or worse. But at the end of the day, I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, you could have given me this like several weeks ago. I guess you didn't think about it. You didn't know I was doing this project right now. So fine. So anyway, it's frustrating though too, because I think I did a really bang up job, in my opinion, on our last revision of the website with the old logo. And so now I'm just like fucking slapping in this new shit without like any overall design thought. And that just kills. That's the other part. It kills my like
artistic integrity,
design, artistry, like that, whatever those bones are in my body, dude, they're just like, I hate it. And I'm just like, I just slapped this shit on. I'm like, I literally told her, I was like, I think this looks horrible, but you already know that I don't want to do this and that it's horrible, and I've already expressed that to you. So if you just want to go out with it, just tell me and I'll just fucking do it. And she's like, yeah, I think I do. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, like it kills me, man. Like, it just looks so bad. Like it could look a lot worse than it does, but like, it's just, I hate design that isn't thought, like I didn't exactly knock the UFD design out of the park. I fucking slung that shit together without too much thought on a weekend, but I didn't like just throw random colors together that don't mean anything.
Sure.
Like the same yellow that's in the header is the yellow that's other places. But like now there's just this weird random red color on our website that wasn't there before. And then she was like, she did the thing that everyone who like, I feel like doesn't have design as much design integrity does, where they make like a random off the cuff suggestion and like, can't you just do this? And I'm like, well, yeah, it would be very easy to do that, but that's not how that works.
It doesn't solve any problem.
Can't you just change all the headers to be the same color red as the banner? And I'm like, technically, yes. And then I did it on the test site, and she was like, oh yeah, let's do that. I'm like, oh God damn it. It's so hacked, like just hackney, dude. It's just like, just get an axe and fucking carve a hole and shove the bucket in. And that's like, oh God. Anyway, this is a long, boring story that no one cares about, but that's been my work week. That's been my work week.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That sounds miserable.
Yeah.
I haven't really had anything exciting happen to me at work. It's been very slow. My coworker had some extra Starbucks coffee, the little cans of espresso.
And I love those. The double shot espressos.
Exactly.
Those are so nummy nums, dude.
Yeah,
I like the vanilla one a lot. Yeah.
I've got cases. This one's just black coffee.
Oh, she gave you whole cases of it?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I got like a pallet of it. So if you need one or two, I will let you fight Jen for it.
I think we're making some coffee drinks the next time I visit your abode.
Oh, all right. I'm down.
That's a thing. Yeah.
Fucking COVID, man.
Yeah, fucking COVID. It's a motherfucker. Yeah, we are remoting again because we both have what we think are allergy sore throats, but maybe we have COVID death.
We're trying not to die. We seem pretty irresponsible hanging out and making eye contact in person during a pandemic, but we are maintaining a respectful social distance.
Like we've been pretty okay. Yeah, we're on the couch, and I'm not like sharing fucking drinks with you or whatever.
No, we're not.
It's fine.
We shared a pizza.
We did, but that's not. We didn't. We didn't Lady and the Tramp the pizza when you made a pizza at my house. We did each have our own plates. We did
Instead of the noodle, it's like the cheese, the drippy cheese.
Jesus.
No, I'm glad we did not do that. That would have been irresponsible.
Yeah,
I think Jen would have been mad at me.
Yeah, mine's actually feeling quite a bit better today than it was last night. So I think it's just like some allergy shit where you get like extra mucus and your throat gets sore. But anyway,
than suffering respiratory arrest.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get into our main topic today. I didn't think of a title for this, so maybe there'll be a cool title by the time you guys check this out. on your podcast service. But,
unfortunately, I don't have that design integrity that you have, so I'm just here to contribute and look good.
I might just title it Street Fighter V versus Smash Ultimate, but that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to compare and contrast Street Fighter V versus Smash Ultimate. And I'll give you guys a quick backstory before we delve more into things. Some of you may be aware already if you know me. I fucking hate Street Fighter V. If you've listened to this podcast, I fucking hate that game. I fucking hate it. It's fucking shit. And I really like Smash Ultimate. I really like it a lot. And I think Smash Ultimate is really good. But the reason that I am doing this particular topic, the reason this came up, is because I will often see people tweet about Smash Ultimate, and they'll hate some shit about it. Okay, something about it, various different things. Because there are some Smash Ultimate haters out there, which is pretty ridiculous in my opinion. But I have always found it interesting that it is a very similar line to the Street Fighter V versus Street Fighter 4 or whatever. And I think that's because Street Fighter V and Smash Ultimate are the exact same kind of game. It's just that they tried to do the same things. It's just that Smash Ultimate actually did most of them well. It's not a perfect game, but it did most things well, some things perfectly. And Street Fighter V did like a few things well, and most things really fucking terribly. But I think they have the same design idea, which is to look at the differences. Well, I think the other part of it that helps Smash Ultimate, before I get into my proper bullet points, is that Smash Ultimate did this to Smash 4, which is a fucking terrible, horrible, dumb game that no one should like.
I thought it was okay.
Nah, it's terrible. The difference is that Smash 4, like, I think that's a big thing Smash has in general, is that since Melee and Brawl, everything's been coming after Brawl. So when you look at Smash 4 compared to Brawl, you're like, okay, Brawl is a horrible, terrible game that actually is very competitively consistent. It has terrible shit. Like, there was a tweet the other day that Mr. R made, and he was like, what's worse, Smash 4 Rage or Brawl Tripping? This was an interesting poll to me, because Brawl Tripping is unquestionably the worst, dumbest mechanic that has ever been put into any game ever, because its only purpose is to deliberately ruin everyone's good time and deliberately punish you for being good.
Yes.
But I think the answer to that question depends on what you're asking. And if you're asking which is worse in terms of worse for the game, it's definitely Rage. And you might be surprised to know that Mewtwo King, Mr. R, I think it was MK Leo, I forget. There were a couple prominent Smash 4 players, and Smash players in general, that were like, Rage is so much worse. And that's true. So Rage is a less offensive mechanic in terms of its design intent. Tripping is the most offensive mechanic of all time in terms of its... Remember when we talked about design intent at the top of this podcast? Did you think I wasn't... Did you think I wasn't connecting shit?
Bringing this back.
So tripping is a much worse. It is the worst design intent. But then in practice, it's actually not that bad. And the reason it's not that bad, before you think I'm crazy, the reason tripping doesn't matter that much is because in Brawl, there are no combos. There is almost no advantage state. The entire game is neutral, which is why, despite being a horrible game in so many ways objectively, because of things like tripping, it actually was a very competitively not balanced. The roster was shit. Balanced like Melee, right? Balanced within the viable characters.
Yeah.
The meta of the viable characters was pretty balanced in the sense of you never saw upsets. You had to earn everything because there was only neutral. And so because there was no like advantage state, there weren't these crazy combos, tripping really didn't matter that much. You did have some very specific bad examples. The worst one would be fighting an Ice Climber player, tripping, and getting grabbed. You literally lose your stock. That's horrible. That is the worst it could be.
And it shouldn't be in the game.
And exactly. But honestly, other than Ice Climbers, it actually was very rare for tripping to result in a stock loss. And it was almost impossible for tripping to result in very much combo advantage because there was almost none of it in Brawl. So worst case scenarios, so Ice Climbers are actually the outlier, right? I feel like everybody thinks that what tripping is what tripping is versus an Ice Climber player. But it generally isn't. If you're Meta Knight and you're fighting a Falco and you as Meta Knight trip, if you're at 0%, Falco gets a grab on you and he chain grabs you to 50%. But that happens anytime Falco ever grabs you ever below 50%. And once you hit 50, he has nothing he can do other than throw you and go for a neutral mix-up because that's how Brawl plays. So basically, the only time tripping ever matters in that matchup is if you trip below 50, or if you trip at like 200%. Okay,
or he could just kill you, or
well, no, he'd hit you with like a quick move that would kill you. But there weren't that many quick moves that killed because kill power was shit in Brawl. So if you tripped like into like a forward smash, first of all, tripping you can very quickly roll one direction or the other, and the trip itself typically wasn't like you could quickly roll, and so your vulnerability from the trip was not enough that most like smash attacks would hit you. You'd be able to roll left or right. So the trip would basically give you a 50-50 read for whether you'd get smash attacked, which is shitty, but you're not even dying from a smash attack until like 180 or some shit for most smash attacks in Brawl. Like, unless it's like, you know, Ike or some shit, but that smash attack's so slow that it probably can't even punish a trip. So I know I sound like I'm being a Brawl apologist, but I'm not apologizing for tripping. It is stupid and it should not have existed, period. But the point of it is that the way it actually plays out is actually not as bad. The other factor of tripping is that you only trip when you run. So if you just never run, then you literally never trip. So
you can just walk everywhere.
Correct. So this created an interesting thing in the meta where characters with better walk speeds were better. This is something that Falco was good at because Falco had a very high walk speed, and more importantly, his primary movement ability was actually Phantasm, and you can't trip when you Phantasm. Whereas characters like Meta Knight, who actually do dash a lot, will trip more than most characters. So Meta Knight actually trips more than most characters because he dashes around quite a bit. You have characters like Snake, who would actually move a lot with their boost dash attack, and you can't trip during that. If you do the boost dash attack up smash, that's not trippable other than the first initial part of it. So anyway, contrast that after my long Brawl diatribe with Rage, which is literally that like a random dumb hit kills you. Like Smash 4 Rage is like Samus up B has a multi-hit, right? But if you, for some reason, only get hit with the first hit of Samus's up B, you will literally die at 0% if she has Rage. This is not an exaggeration. This is a real thing that happens. So Samus's up B hits you multiple times and then has a final hit. And for whatever reason, the way they coded those multi-hit moves, they have like a shit ton of knockback to guarantee that the next hit hits them, right? So
interesting way to do it.
Yeah, interesting, stupid, whatever you want to call it. But like basically that first hit, if you're at 0%, that first hit of Samus's up B has a shit ton of knockback even at 0 because there's like 72 hits that come after it. So it guarantees you like fly up, okay? And if you don't have any rage, you just fly up really weirdly highly and it's like weird. But if the character hitting you with that up B has any rage at all and they hit you at an angle such that the second hit misses, like they try and space it really far away, that first hit will literally just kill you. Like Peach's up B did that. Basically all multi-hit moves, if you could hit with just the first hit of it, would almost kill you or definitely kill you if the person had rage. And then, yeah, so absolutely terrible. But then even if you don't count that oddity, which is really not that odd because that game is terrible, you've also got the issue of just general hits in that game actually being strong. But where I don't like it, and this is where I'll compare it to Ultimate, is that in Ultimate, hits are stronger at a base and rage is less powerful. Rage is still kind of crazy, but like when you get hit with Ganon back air, even if Ganon doesn't have rage, he might kill you at 80. So when you get hit with Ganon back air rage and you die at 65 off the ledge, it's like less surprising, right? But in Smash 4, the scaling was there was such a discrepancy. Like you might get hit with like a normal smash attack and it wouldn't kill you at all when you were at 100, but then get hit with a smash attack when the other person's at 150 and has rage and you're only at 80 and then it like kills you. And it just feels horrible. So it felt like a lot more random is what I'm getting at.
So you're saying that while tripping was definitely malicious and horrible and shouldn't have existed, it's not as disruptive to play, or
it's not as disruptive to the competitive outcome. Yes. The outcomes of matches are more consistent in Brawl than in Smash 4. The better player, the player who should quote unquote win,
wins more
always
of the time
wins.
in Brawl.
Always, literally always wins in Brawl. Like I can't stress. I actually think Brawl, like as bad of a game as it was, is maybe the most consistent game in that regard because there's only neutral. It'd be like if you played Street Fighter 4 as Ryu and you could jump, but there were no jump attacks. and And like you're like it's literally just it is just neutral. There is nothing but neutral. Like you get to it, which is why a lot of people hated Brawl because they're like, oh, I did a thing, I should be able to combo, and the combo just never. It can't happen. There's never enough. There's never enough hits done for the combo to work. You only get a mix up at best, right? Like so. Anyway, so with that like out of the way, I think that is a very similar what I just analogued in. I think Smash 4 is similarly bad in the ways that Street Fighter 5 is bad. And Smash Ultimate has the same philosophy as a game like Street Fighter 5, but it succeeds thusly. Are we ready for bullet points? I feel like you either do or don't want to get words in. I have bullet points. I'm going. This has been in my brain. I'm pooping it out.
You're totally prepped. I'll only interrupt when I feel like I have something really cutting to say.
Okay, so and these are. I mean, I'm not. This isn't like a PowerPoint, but I did write some things down to make sure I hit some points. So, okay, I'm going to start with Street Fighter V. I think the biggest offense that it makes is that it changes several core elements of the neutral from both what we'll refer to as real Street Fighter, which is Street Fighter 2, definitively. If you disagree with that, you're just wrong. Street Fighter 2 is Street Fighter. Okay? Like, it is. It is.
You've, for context, everyone knows Evo moment number 37, where Daigo famously does the full parry against Justin Wong's Chun.
Yes.
The most hype thing about fighting games ever. It got me into fighting games. It got plenty of people into fighting games.
Not a Street Fighter game.
Will, for some reason, believes that Street Fighter Third Strike is fake. It's not. It's actually King of Fighters with a parry system.
Basically, it is a good game. It's a good game that I don't like. Street Fighter 3, which consider that everyone just calls it Third Strike. Nobody calls it Street Fighter 3.
Well, it's right there in the name. So
it's just Third Strike. Okay, it's just Third Strike. It has air parrying. So Street Fighter 3 is the same kind of game. This is another actually similar example. Actually, I could do a diatribe about this too. I won't, but I'll quickly say it changes a lot of shit in the way that like 5 or Ultimate do. Except that it's not necessarily bad. It's just not the same game anymore. So I can take that. 3 is a good game, but it is not the same game even as 4. People said this about like Focus Attack in 4, but Focus Attack is so much less like Focus Attack. No. I would say it's more freeform, but I think it's less damaging to the core Street Fighter fundamentals than air parrying is. If there were only ground parries, I would still not like it, but I wouldn't have this opinion. Air parries are like the number one reason to me that it is not Street Fighter. Because if there were air focus attacks, I would have hated Street Fighter 4. I would have hated it because the core principle of Street Fighter is you jumped, fuck you. If you want to argue that, I will find you and I will beat up your children. There is no room. Intense. No, there's no room for that. Fuck you, you're dumb. There is no room for that. The core principle of Street Fighter is you jumped, fuck you. And that stems from fireball make once jump. Jump fireball, yay. Player no throw fireball, jump anti-air hurt, ow. That's the whole game. That caveman fucking rock, paper, scissors. That is fucking Street Fighter, bro. That is why footsies exist, because you want to jump, but should you? Well, yes, but no.
But only when it's right to.
Yeah, or sometimes when it's wrong. Sometimes you only want to jump when it's wrong, but not when it's wrong and you get punished, when it's wrong and it works. And like that whole, we've talked about this like with, we talked about this with our tournament memories and some stuff with Steve and like, last podcast even. So like that is Street Fighter. That just isn't a thing in 3 because when you jump, you can fucking parry Shoryuken. It's the stupidest shit of all time. And okay, if you like Third Strike, my point, again, I will reiterate, I do not think Third Strike is a bad game. I do not personally like it. Third Strike is a great game. It's just not Street Fighter, bro. It's not. Like, when you jump, I'm Ryu, and you're whoever, and you jump my fireball, and I'm like, that was a late one. Shoryuken, and then you parry it, and you full punish me because I Shoryuken anti-aired you correctly. I didn't get. It's not like you jumped at the right time and my Shoryuken missed. You just parried in the air, and now my Shoryuken, I get a full 50% punish. That is not Street Fighter. That is just definitively, that would be like if you made a Smash game, and like when you rolled, you could like press a direction during your roll, and it would power shield during roll. So you could just roll at people. You could just roll at them. And then they're like, you idiot. Why'd you roll punish? And you're like, psych, I did a roll power shield. And now I'm going to punish you for punishing my roll. It is the dumbest shit ever. And if you're thinking that sounds kind of like a not as well made version of spot dodge canceling in Ultimate, I actually agree. Because spot dodge canceling is just as quote unquote stupid of a mechanic were it made that poorly as air parrying or as some of the Street Fighter V shit. But I actually don't have a problem with spot dodge canceling because there is still more than enough time. If someone does this, so for those of you who don't know, when you spot dodge in most Smash games, spot dodge recovers, you can do a thing. In Smash Ultimate specifically, when you spot dodge, you can basically cancel your spot dodge 5 frames early into an attack. Into a grounded attack. But that's nowhere near as bad as canceling it into a parry. Because that means if you spot dodge like an idiot and then empty attack like an idiot, I can still whiff punish you for being an idiot. So some people don't like it because they're expecting to punish the spot dodge time early.
Sure.
And they don't like it because, but to me, that's like such a small variance. It's 5 frames. Whatever move they do is still really laggy when it whiffs, right? Like, it's really not a problem. There's a couple characters that are worse about it than others, like your Falco, because he's got a really good up tilt. So Falco spot dodge cancel up tilt is like super good. So it's not, I'm not going to say it's the best mechanic of all time, but I don't really think it's a problem. But for 5 specifically, now that we've gone on our 3 rant, I think the core specific elements that 5 has killed is definitely anti-airs, via different means than parrying, which I'll get to. Throw resets, which is specifically a difference between 3 and 4. 2 did not have throw techs, obviously. Well, it did, but they weren't. Okay. It did, but they weren't.
Rather than teching.
Yeah, actually, that still isn't that bad. So maybe I can't analog that. But it's a different throw system in 2 than it is. So basically, every Street Fighter game has Street Fighter 3's throw system, and that's actually the best thing Street Fighter 3 did, in my opinion. The Street Fighter 3 throw system is so much better than the Street Fighter 2 throw system. It's not even remotely like Street Fighter 2's throw system is so dumb. So yeah, the throw tech, the air resets, which is all of them, and then I think the biggest offender of 5 personally is the general range of normals. And this is something that is like, I will start with this because it is objectively true, and if you disagree with it, you're just living in a fantasy realm. Every single normal ability is like every comparable one for the most part is shorter in 5. Like Ryu crouch medium kick, Chun-Li sweep. And this is the main thing that I actually probably think is the number one problematic thing about 5 is literally the range and punishability of normals. Because in Street Fighter 4 or in Street Fighter 2, less than 3. 3 is actually the most similar to 5 for sure. But in Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 4 specifically, you can play both of those games and literally know no combos and be pretty fucking good. Like you can, because normals are so good in Street Fighter 2. They're actually probably too good in Street Fighter 2. Like I definitely prefer 4, but they're both similar. There are so many normals in 2 that like they're not punishable. They're super fast. And when you do like stand hard kick as like Bison or Guile, it's like fucking half the screen. You're just like, kick, eat my fucking boot. And so you just zone people out with your normals. 4 is the same way. Certain moves are a little bit more punishable. Like I'm looking like your Ryu sweep. But then you also have Goken sweep, which is still really fast. And it's only like -3, which is literally unpunishable unless you're point blank versus a fucking grand grab character or some shit. Chun-Li can just hit stand hard kick, crouch hard kick, stand hard punch. These are all buttons that they just go so far. They're so fast. They're so safe. You just zone inherently. But in 5, all these buttons at range, like they either have no range, they have way too much recovery and hurtbox, or, and this is the only caveat where they're good, they're a bullshit crush counter spam move, like Urian's.
It was stand fierce. which is again like half screen leads to a 50%
right. But the difference is right. So this is my point. In 4 or 2, if you're doing lots of hard punches and hard kicks as Chun-Li or Bison, right? You're doing them, but when you get one, you just get a hard punch, right? So the other person is navigating, and you get hit by the hard punch. You're like, "Ow, that hurt. I'll reconsider my neutral. Ow, that hurt. I'll reconsider my neutral." But that's got to happen like, I don't know, 8 times.
8 times for it to kill you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Versus like Urian in Street Fighter 5.
You can do it like twice.
Will literally stand still. Yeah, he will stand still and just spam hard punch.
Chop. Yeah.
And all of his other normals are terrible. They do literally nothing. But then he'll just do hard punch. And then if you get crush counter with hard punch, it's 50% of your health. He gets a free combo into 50% of your life. And by the way, he's got
more resources.
It could be more than 50%. A. B. Let it not go unnoted that 50% combo invariably leads into a 33 mix-up at worst because it's Street Fighter 5. So you think you're playing footsies, but Urian's literally not paying attention and just waiting for one hard punch to hit you, and then you die instantaneously. So this is the most egregious offense of Street Fighter 5. I like Street Fighter 5, a lot of its other design choices on principle. I even liked the concept of crush counters on principle until I realized that most of the moves that were crush countering were like the far range quick moves, like the few of them that there are. And it's just like, why are those the ones that crush counter? Like, to me, everybody's annoyed by like M. Bison or Laura's crush counters. I don't mind theirs at all. I don't mind Bison knee. To me, like, Bison knee is what a crush counter should be because it really doesn't have that much range. It's got very good range for a pressure move, but Bison has like a terrible walk speed. Laura's like elbow. It doesn't have that great of range, right? So you would think up close when someone's pressuring you, that might be when they'd get a reward off that counter hit because they're mixing your shit up. They've gotten in.
Yeah.
Those I don't mind, but a lot of characters are like Urian, where they, like Nakali, they just have these super fucking far range moves that not only is the move far, but then when it crush counters you, they get a dash, which puts them at point blank and they get a full combo. I'm just like, that is the dumbest. Oh my god.
Mika's stand hard kick. I really like that move.
God,
but then I played Mika's.
Like it's just so it's so bad.
Okay, so on the topic of stubby normals, I believe that this, and of course you would as well. What I'm going to say isn't controversial. The entire point of making everyone have teeny tiny stubby normals is to force people to aggress.
And not zone. Right, which is why they can't play that punch zoning game anymore. Because even if they get that crush counter with Urian, if they're a new player, the game needs them to do a 50% combo.
Yes.
So there is no winning strat with a character like Urian or a character with that far range where you just zone them out. If you don't know a long combo in 5, you can't play 5. You can play Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 4, which to me is very important for Street Fighter. You have those character archetypes, characters that are more or less combo focused.
You want that? You feel it integral to a Street Fighter game to have a reward for neutral, right?
Yes,
it shouldn't
this
be as
leads
much
into
about
my
the
Smash
combos.
Ultimate comparison, but I think you were trying to make a point, so I'll let you get that out if you still have it.
No, that was that idea. I was just going to complain about how there aren't there's the whole issue of there's no zoning, normal zoning, or all of the air quote zoning in Street Fighter 5 still takes place at point blank range, and it's a question of whether or not you're allowed to take your turn.
Yep.
The other thing I was going to say was I actually like crush counters, not necessarily in Street Fighter 5, but they in Blaze Blue they had a fatal counter system ever since Continuum Shift. Persona 4 Arena has its own fatal counter system. You've got like 1 or 2 buttons that cause a fatal counter state, which lets you get more hits done so that you can do bigger, better combos or less expensive combos or whatever. I like that because you always have that, like Tager's only, I guess he's got 2 fatal counter, or back in Continuum Shift he did. His 5C, which is just like this weird big clap that he does at standing. It's super slow, but if you got hit by it, he deserved it, and he deserves to then ruin your life. Or his 2C, he does this. It's an anti-air. He like table flips without flipping a table, and if you get hit by that, like you jumped, fuck you. So,
well, and I have always maintained I like crush counters conceptually
as an idea. Yeah. Well then,
and I think I really didn't start super duper hating Street Fighter V, I actually liked it quite a bit through season 1. Season 1 and 5, the entire time, I was like, I actually like this game. I was having fun. It was the best. There were invincible reversals still.
I was going to say that. That's exactly it. There was exactly one defensive mechanic that they didn't strip away.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, so this is sin number 4572 of Street Fighter V. Shoryuken, which has been invincible meterless since the dawn of time. Flash kick, which has been invincible meterless since the dawn of time. They decided at the start of season 2 to just make none of that a thing, and you only could have invincible moves if you spent meter. It is one of the dumbest things of all time. I hate it so fucking much. Anyway, I played, though, in Season 1, Bison. I think Street Fighter V Bison is a well-designed character. I played in Season 1, Laura and Alex. I think they are both pretty well-designed characters. And people always think I'm meaning because these are all rushdown characters. And they're like, you hate Street Fighter V because it's rushdown, but you like these rushdown characters. I'm like, yeah, because all three of those characters, they can they should be rushdown. And they can be zoned out. None of those characters have like crazy good long-range normals. That's why I hate Urien and Mika. Because they're rushdown characters that also have like really weirdly good zoning in the context of Street Fighter V.
Where zoning is illegal. Having a half-screen stand roundhouse is great.
Yeah, it's just like, so, and then it leads, like, it's so stupid. Like, I just don't understand. Like, so I don't mind a rushdown character design. I mind when the entire game is rushdown and there's literally no one who gets to play zoning except rushdown characters. So the only characters that zone, like even Dalsum, they're like, what if Dalsum had fucking cool combos and 50-50 mix-ups? I'm like, I guess, but they did that to literally everybody, dude. Like, guys, let's give Blanca a command grab. Let's fucking get, like, there's just, everybody is that. So this leads into my point being where I think Smash Ultimate has, I will say, it has actually a lot of similar design choices that I think it's appropriate to dislike for similar reasons to why people dislike Street Fighter V. Chrom is a Street Fighter V character. Yes, like, if you guys want to know, if you want to know as a Smash player, if you want to know as a Smash player what Street Fighter V is like, imagine that the only thing that there was in Smash Ultimate was Chrom. I'm not talking about Roy, where there's some nuance. Like, Roy's like, oh, he hit me with the hilt, it hurt, I can't believe I died. That's crazy. But he also did other, like, no, like every fucking character is just like, Badur, forward air, Badur, up air, all of my moves are safe, I kill for free. Also, for no reason, I have an anti-air that does 10 million damage, even though I'm a fucking rushdown character, and anti-air should be shitty. Chrom is the most fucking Street Fighter V fucking character. Like, that is, I thought today, I was like, I need to think of what character in Smash Ultimate embodies Street Fighter V. And my first thought was that it was going to take a really long time. And, and it didn't. It's just Chrom. It's just Chrom.
No, you're right. Yeah, the only difference between him and Urien is that Urien brings his hand down when he does the slap chop,
and
Chrom brings his sword up. Aside from that, they're the literal same character.
Chrom, Jer, and Urien crush counter stand hard punch. Oh my god, it's so dumb. Like, that character design is so stupid. So, but the difference is, so this is the thing. When I see complaints about, there are other characters besides Chrom that are kind of similar. I definitely think Chrom is like the worst defender. But there are characters or elements of characters in Smash Ultimate that have things like that from Chrom that are kind of stupid. But the reason that I don't mind them is because there are still other archetypes, okay? There are still actual zoning characters, both projectile and non-projectile zoning. Real ones. So this is, again, the best way I can illustrate the problems of 5 to people who don't know as much about it. There is no Ike compared to Chrom in Street Fighter V. There is no Ike.
There's just slightly shorter Urien.
There's Chrom,
Urien with pigtails.
Yeah, there's not even really a Roy, but like Roy is, I guess you could say Roy is maybe like, maybe Roy is Laura or something, like a character that is good up close, but like there is some nuance to their game plan. They will fuck your shit up in bullshit ways, but they can be, like, Laura can be countered. You can keep Laura out, even though zoning, I like fighting Laura because she's one of the few characters you can actually zone out in 5.
Yeah.
Because she does have shit tools. She has tools to approach, but like, she's properly balanced in my opinion. Where when she gets in, you're like, oh shit, she's in, and when she's out, you're like, you're staying out because you're bad at getting in. That's good character design. Like Bison, I feel like is very similar.
You have to thread the needle.
Yeah, when Bison gets V-trigger, teleport, that's a whole different thing, obviously. So obviously, yeah, but for the most part, those characters, you know, and V-trigger is a whole other thing that I won't get into that is dumb. But there are archetypes. So you have Ike as your zoner with normals type character. Okay, you could argue, you know, Martha and Lucina, but they're a little more standard swords, so we won't use them. So like Ike is a great one. And then there's lots of good projectile zoning. We know this because for some reason Smashers hate projectile zoning. They're the biggest fucking babies.
They do.
Smashers are the biggest fucking babies about projectile zoning of all time. I do not know any other fucking fighting game community that's as big of motherfucking bitches than Smashers.
You know how people were like fixing to riot about Sonic?
Yeah.
Oh, he could run away. Circle camping's the devil. In Street or no, what's the one? BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. Do you remember watching GC Yoshi with me?
Yeah, I remember you telling me that he hit him once and literally just timed him out. Yeah.
And I was like, Will, you do care about this game, but only right now.
It's the most anyone has ever made me interested in that game. Yes. So please go on.
GC Yoshi plays a character. He plays two characters because everyone plays two characters.
It's a tag game. Yeah.
He plays Hazama and Yosuke. And Hazama has this goofy green whip that lets him zip all over the fucking screen. And Yosuke has like ninja teleports and like wall hops and shit. And so GC Yoshi's plan was in every game, get a small life lead and then run the clock out. Every game, it was the same idea. And I'll be damned if it didn't work.
Yeah.
And Will, who famously hates anime and Joy, was sitting there like, yeah, run from them.
I love me a good interactive timeout. I mean, I think the only time like timeouts have ever been bad in my time in the fighting community was early Street Fighter Cross Tekken, where it would just happen. Those were bad. They weren't bad because they were timeouts. Yeah, they were bad because the game just didn't have enough damage relative to the health bars, and matches without people even intending to go for timeouts would end up in timeouts. Those were bad.
Yes,
but anytime somebody's intentionally just like trying to fuck off and run away, I love that. Dude, people would never, they'd be like, well, you don't like Marvel. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I hate Marvel so much. And they're like, why are you so hyped for Chris G? And I'm like, because it's the best shit I've ever seen. They're like, all he does is throw fireballs and run away. I'm like, yeah, it's fucking godlike. There's so many movement options in Marvel. People are like fucking teleporting all over the screen, trying to catch him. They're going through dimensional doors and fucking zapping shit, blowing up fucking planets, and he's just moving around fucking shooting fireballs. It's so fucking cool. That is the most I have ever enjoyed Marvel is when Chris G was good at it, and all he did was fucking run away and throw fireballs. Oh my god. Or when Justin Wong timed somebody out with like, I think it was he fighting an Akuma and he was Storm?
He is Akuma. He plays both.
Okay, yeah. He timed somebody out like on one of them. It was either when he won Evo or when he got like second or third at one of them.
It was him and the Filipino champion in the finals.
Those sets were so like there are not many Marvel sets that I have like fucking gotten hyped for, and like dude, Marvel timeouts. That is the best part about Marvel.
They're pretty exciting.
That is the best part about Marvel.
Last longer,
Marvel timeouts are like, clip this shit for how infrequently I ever have good things to say about Marvel. Like, dude, Marvel timeouts are like some of the best timeouts because it's so the odds. It just feels like the odds of you being able to not get hit in that game,
run away for so long,
minuscule. Like, how? Like, literally, Hulk is like dropping planets on people that are the entire screen, and somehow you're you're
running away. Yeah.
So anyway.
But that's exciting because that Yosuke Sonic type character is another archetype that Smash has. Compared to Street Fighter V, which is missing that.
Well, it had it in Nash, and then they again in season one they deleted Nash because he's still in the game, but they basically might as well delete him.
They might as well. Yeah.
He used to have Nash had really, really good runaway timeout play. And they fucking nerfed him because this is why I quit Street Fighter V. This is the soundbite for why. When I realized that all the shit about it that was bad was actually what they wanted, and all the shit about it that was good, they intentionally removed because they wanted it to be like the things that I hated. That's when I quit the game. So
so Nash, who had that option, that opportunity to run away from characters, they reduced his ability to slip out of situations because it's not exciting.
It's not exciting.
Not cool.
It's not exciting
to see someone get out. Yeah. They don't want to see someone get out. They want to see someone get caught.
Yep.
That's when it's exciting, is when they get caught.
Which
right?
is bullshit, because all that ever happens is that people get caught, and so then it's not fun because it's the only thing that happens. Anyway, I need to finish my thought process about projectile zoners, because Smashers hate projectile zoners, and they're little bitches. But yeah, Samus, super good zoning. Me Gunner, super good zoning. All of the Links, super good zoning. There are so many. Yeah, Yoshi's got solid zoning for sure. Falco's still pretty decent zoning. It should be as good as it was in Brawl. I'll die on that fucking hill. You're all fucking plebes. But yeah, there is still plenty of good projectile zoning too. So this is another reason for me that even though, I just thought of the title. Different Sides of the Same Coin is the title of this fucking
Okay, there
podcast.
you go. So you're in there.
It is a different side of the same coin for Street Fighter V and Smash Ultimate. But with Smash Ultimate, even though you've got your fucking dumbass Crom characters, that goddamn, I wish they'd delete that fucking character from the game. You've got your dumbass Inkling characters, which is Inkling is more like, I'm trying to think of what game Inkling's from. Yeah, shit. Yeah. Yep. Inkling is Elena.
That's my problem.
Inkling
with
is Street Fighter 4 Elena.
Yeah.
If you guys want more ammunition to annoy me, as much as I jack off to the idea of Street Fighter 4, I think Elena is one of the worst characters ever put in a fighting game. Street Fighter 4 Elena specifically. She is up there with Brawl Alamar. And if you played Brawl, you know that means a lot. Street Fighter 4 Elena is Brawl Alamar in... It's like if Street Fighter 4 is Melee, where it's this pretty beautiful thing, it's like someone ported Brawl Alamar into the game as DLC. That's what Elena. That's what Elena felt like. That's what Elena was in Street Fighter 4. They're like, there's a new DLC pack that has like 4 or 5 new characters in it, and you're like, oh, sick, Poison and Rolento and Evil Ryu and shit, and like. And then you're like, all these characters are cool. No one's playing Elena because who gives a fuck about Elena? And then somehow sneakily a month later, everyone is Elena, and all they do is heal 7 times and have more health than Zangief. And they can't be hit because their hurt box is 1 pixel big and it's under the floor. You're not allowed to hit her. You're just not allowed. Like, oh my god. Yeah, anyway. Yeah. This has become more general than I expected it to be. I had all these bullet points for just these. Oh, I'm not complaining. It's who doesn't like us talking about some fighting games, Alex?
Hell yeah.
So Ultimate gets to still feel like a real game because it maintains player agency by making available multiple different character archetypes. There are
in the same character.
Even in the same, yeah. There's exactly, there's
multiple. That's meaningful choice.
You can You can play a more campy or a more rushed down zoning character. Like all of the characters that zone your Links, your Samus, whatever. Yes. You can. Like, you could argue one's more optimal, but at the end of the day, you do have the choice to go in more or to not go in more or to express yourself with certain combos and setups. You don't have that in 5. Every single character is the same fucking character, man.
For Urien, you have the choice of getting in real close and using Stand Fierce, or you have the choice of losing because you're out of Stand Fierce range.
Yeah, and like yeah, exactly. Like every character plays at that same general range. If they do zone, it's just not as good. Eventually you're getting shit on. And this was actually something that pissed me off about Guile specifically. So Guile has always had pretty cool little corner combos, but this is like this is so indicative of Street Fighter V's design philosophy. They messed up all of his anti-airs do less damage. They all have less they have like less big hitboxes, less invulnerability. They have more startup, so they're slower, more recovery. You just can't anti-air with his normals or even his flash kick as well as you could in other games because flash kick isn't even invincible anymore. So a lot of times you anti-air someone with a flash kick and you have that good fuck you flash kick feeling, and they just kick you out of flash kick and do a full combo. It's the worst feeling in the oh god, I have to I'm willing that out of my mind. I will literally bitch about that for an hour. It is the worst thing that's ever happened. Okay, but specifically, so Guile has some sick corner combos in a lot of games, but Street Fighter V Guile doesn't just have sick corner combos. We can't have that. This is Street Fighter V. Guile's entire mission statement in Street Fighter V is to do what is literally a corner infinite. The only reason it is not an infinite is because you have a limited
It's on a
amount of timer to be able to do it, because V-triggers are stupid and they power you up for a period of time. It's dumb. It's the whole thing. So when you get Guile's V-trigger going, as long as you have it going, you can just do this fucking infinite, which I mastered, and it was kind of cool to do, but it just becomes
it feels
this thing
good
where,
and it looks good.
Yeah, but then it's like every time you hit someone, it's like, here we go. We're gonna do the thing. It's like,
let's go to the corner.
Do the infinite, fucking 50% health into a fucking corner mix up. It's Guile. He should have a cool corner combo, but he should not be more about corner combos than he is about anti-airs and sonic booms. And he is, and it's dumb. So you can't choose that. Whereas there were Guiles, as you said, within the character, the agency. Everyone who plays a character in Street Fighter V, there is only one way to play those characters optimally. This is also not an opinion. Talk to even the
this
people.
Is a fact.
Even the people who like 5 will agree with this. There is no expression. There is no expression in the character design. Every character is meant to be played a single way, and if you do not play them that way, then you are not being optimal. You can argue about this in other fighting games, but the argument is there. I think zoning Sagat is better than rushdown Sagat, right? But in 5, there is no conversation. There's just what is optimal and what is not. And so Ultimate still maintains this, and this is super important. This is the thing that everybody really, in my opinion, plays fighting games for, is to express yourself. You might have Bowser players who, even though you're always rushing down because you're Bowser, some are a little more lame than others. Some use more fire breath than others. Some do cooler combos than others. People will edge guard more as characters as part of their play style.
Go further out or stay at the ledge.
People will ledge trap more. There just isn't that. So even though a lot of these design philosophies and what they changed, and I didn't hint on these points, but a lot of what they made easier in 5, they did similar things in 4, or made worse. They made anti-airs worse in 5. They made shield grabbing worse in Ultimate. But anti-airs in 5 are so much worse than shield grabs are in Ultimate. Shield grabs still function the same way and generally are good. There are just certain things that you're not allowed to shield grab any longer. I would personally prefer shield grabs were a little better than they are. I think if they added maybe 2 frames of delay instead of 4, or maybe if everyone's grab was a unified grab startup, I actually think that's probably even better, because honestly, 6-frame grab with 4 frames shield stun, that's not too bad. But when you've got a character like Ganon or Bowser where you have an 8-frame grab and then it's 4 frame shield stun, it's frame 12, those 2 frames make a big difference. So that could help, and I think that would improve. But it doesn't feel like shield grabbing is utterly worthless. It depends on what they're doing and the situation. It's just made worse. But the difference is, not only do generally anti-airs feel worse and pretty bad a lot of the time in 5, the anti-airs that are good are anti-airs that shouldn't be good. So instead of anti-airing with Shoryuken or Crouch Hard Punch, which is what should be the anti-air because that's how Street Fighter works. It has worked. It has worked, and that's something that you want. The best anti-airs in Street Fighter V are jab.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're not even stand jab, they're crouch jab, which makes no fucking sense because you're really low to the ground. But for some reason, crouch jab has a better hitbox than your crouch hard punch. And it's faster. And when you crouch jab, because of the way they changed air resets, this is something not a lot of people think about. But in 4, when you air reset someone, they fly really far away. So that means when you air reset someone, you have to get a specifically meaty air-to-air to get an air reset mix-up. I need to hit you with like an air-to-air low to have enough frame advantage to dash under you, because when I hit you with an air-to-air, you flip up high in the air, and then because I air-to-aired you, I land because I don't flip, and then I can hit you. But you don't typically get an air reset mix-up off of an anti-air grounded in 4. If you crouch hard punch, they flip back. You might be able to dash up to the front of them, but because they flip back so far, you really typically cannot get a left-right mix-up. But in Street Fighter V, the air-to-air reset goes nowhere, first of all. So then when you get a jab anti-air, it's better because the damage you get off a crouch hard punch is almost nothing. The crouch hard punch is shit. It has no startup. So you just jab them, and then when you jab them, you're like, well, that didn't do any damage, but I'm about to get a 50-50 left-right mix-up and do big Street Fighter V damage to you if I hit you. And more importantly, this is another thing people don't ever talk about, and I don't know why, because it's so big. When you air reset in Street Fighter V, because you don't flip back and fly away so far, if you jump as the air-to-air-er, someone else is trying to jump attack you, you jump and kick them really quickly, more often than not, in Street Fighter V, you, as the person who hit them out of the air by jumping and hitting them out of the air, you get mixed up with a 50-50 by the person you just hit, because they flip so fast and don't go anywhere that it takes them less time to flip out of the animation of getting hit than it does for you to finish the animation of having hit them as an air-to-air. And if you're pausing and thinking that doesn't sound right, there's no way I'm interpreting what Metal said correctly, that's Street Fighter V! That's why it's bad! Because that is how it works, and that is true. Why would you get rewarded for getting hit out of the air? It's so fucking retarded! But okay, before we go on that for 50 million years, I will just say, Ultimate doesn't have that. You can hate that Palutena has a safe on shield aerial, okay? But she can't always fair you. You can still whiff punish her fair air to air, and it still works, okay? She can still time her fair poorly at the top of your shield, and you can get something, depending on the character. But ultimately, there is still that counterplay. It is more brain dead than a lot of things, but it's also not, I mean, it's less brain dead than like Falcon Knee and Melee, and everybody loves Falcon Knee on shield. That shit's fucking plus on shield. So I don't think having plus on shield aerials implicitly is bad. I don't think having ability to pressure people and put them in a dumb mix-up is inherently bad. It's only bad when that's the only thing there is to do, and when all the other shit just doesn't work. And Ultimate doesn't play out that way. You do have anti-airs. You do have proper smash neutral. You don't have proper neutral in 5 anymore. It's a totally different neutral game. So different sides.
Nose to nose, you're playing chicken.
Yeah, different sides of the same coin.
Go
ahead.
You don't want to talk about it for a million years, but I'll be concise. That whole issue you have where I jump at you and then you have done the math, you've triangulated my position, you leap into the air and you kick me. But because Street Fighter V is stupid, I drop like a brick to the ground, jump up, and I get a mix-up, punishing you for having
or a grounded dash mix-up before I land.
Yeah,
either or. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I was thinking like a jumping cross-up.
Meaty pressure, jumping cross-up, dash
you.
under. It's oh god, it's so dumb. Well,
the point is that I'm quite advantaged because it's not a coincidence. It's specifically because you anti-aired me. You knew what you were doing when you went in for that air-to-air and you hit me. It's because you did that I get to put you in that lousy situation.
That is the most infuriating.
We're breaking that tenet of that core principle of Street Fighter, which is...
I did a good thing, fuck you.
You jumped, fuck you. Yeah. You jumped, fuck me.
It is actually similar to the shield grab nerf. Because in Brawl and 4, you hit my shield, fuck you, I shield grab you. So I do agree with that general sentiment. I understand that. I don't personally, again, I just said a couple minutes ago, I don't personally think the shield grabs should be as bad as they are. But they're not so bad that you can't shield grab or that you're always punished. It's just that there are certain moves that's the case. But that's not the case in 5. It's a universal interaction with air-to-airs. If it was like only like
Tammy's jump roundhouse did it.
No, that would still be stupid because it shouldn't be any normal jump attack. But if it was only like Akuma Demon Flip that like maybe Akuma Demon Flip, if you hit him out of Demon Flip, he gets
okay. So it puts like him too far in the air,
or some some okay. But that's not how it is. It's just it would literally be like if every attempt to shield grab never worked.
Yeah, that's closer to how it is.
It wouldn't be quite that bad because anti-airs are a thing, but it's
close.
It's close. It's close to that, and or if the best way to quote unquote shield grab was actually to like spot dodge jab or something that like I don't know, because it's turning a core element completely on its head. So Smash Ultimate does diminish certain core elements that have been prevalent in other games. in an effort to make certain play styles better. I just think it does a really good job at it. I don't think it hits it out of the park on every beat, but I think more often than not, most of the ways it tries to do that are good. Some are not as good as I would like them. A couple of them I just don't like. But for the most part, I think it's an improvement in the overall way that plays out, and not literally shitting on you and punishing you for being good at the game 24/7 the way that 5 does. The last thing I have in my bullet points is combos. And combos are simplified in Ultimate compared to a game like Melee, but this is a less big offense from Melee as it is on the opposite end, where there are these really easy to do, simple, big damaging combos in Ultimate that weren't there in, say, Brawl. I won't even give you 4 because 4 had ding dong and shit, and that was way dumber. So basically, to me, Smash Ultimate's combo game is Smash 4's combo game, but they extracted the crack and the meth out of the combo game system. So to me, it's just better. It is kind of stupid sometimes. There are definitely some combos that are kind of dumb, but I feel like they don't feel as stupid because it's not as egregious as Smash 4 Rage. So I think it's okay to be rewarded for some cool little combos, a little closer to something like Melee, and that's certainly better than a game like Brawl that literally has none. Whereas in 5, as we've mentioned, all of the combos are basically the same. But even within your combos in Ultimate, you have combo archetypes. I can still play Ganon or Bowser, and I get cool, simple, damaging combos, right? But then, Hylian can still play Joker and do drag down things. And Joker's fucking broken. That character should be nerfed. But he would still have, even if he got more of the nerf that he deserves, he would still have that archetype where he is rewarded for putting in actual lab time more so. You're rewarded for lab time in 5. I like the idea of combos being easy, okay? But the difference is there are easy combos in Smash Ultimate that are easy to pick up, but you can still be rewarded for really weirdly esoteric stuff. Like there are people who are better at jab locking than other people, and it's a core part of their game. And for some characters, it's core enough that if you're not jab locking as, I'll use Yoshi, you're messing up because his jab lock game is really easy. But you can actually quote unquote jab lock with Ganon with reverse up air. I don't do that shit, but
because that would be really hard.
It's really hard. But I just do a dash attack, and I'm like, that's enough. I just dash attack them out of the mistech. That's fine. But there are people who do that shit, and that's super sick, right? You have the option. You don't have that option in 5. If you can't do Guile's Corner Infinite, you can't play Guile. You can't. So again, it's that difference of there is hard shit that's there. There is easy baby shit. But there's only the shit that is there in 5. There is no, this guy plays baby Guile, but he is more reliant on anti-air. It's just not a thing.
You don't have that option.
It's not
on the table.
You're not allowed. If you can't do the shit, then you can't play him. So yeah, it's anyway, these are my thoughts. I don't know. Do you have closing thoughts about these two games? Do you agree or disagree with my general thoughts about how they're the same design philosophy, one executed well, Smash Ultimate, and one executed poorly, Street Fighter V?
So we've gone out of our way to talk a lot about how the two games are different. And we're saying they're two sides of the same coin. So obviously, to an extent, that means that they must be similar in some way. And that, to me, is that core principle, that core design philosophy of more people should be able to play this game. It should be more accessible. And there's a lot of ways that you can make things accessible. Like Skullgirls, any idiot can sit down and mash on buttons and have a good time playing Skullgirls. But if we're talking about up at the highest height of the game, you got your neutral, you got your anti-airs, your pressure, whatever. Fuck you. If you don't understand how the infinite prevention system works, you're not playing Skullgirls.
Ceilings and floors.
Yeah, this makes the game much more convoluted.
It still has a high ceiling.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It has a lower floor and a higher ceiling. Street Fighter V has a lower floor and a lower ceiling.
Right. And they both went out of their way to make Ultimate and 5 both went out of their way to try and make sure as many people
the floor
as possible. Yeah, to lower the floor so that any idiot could have more fun playing it than they would playing Skullgirls.
And I agree with plinking being removed from 5. or shit like that.
Well,
yeah, there's stuff that 5 did remove.
It's really hard. Yeah,
that I agree with. Yeah, go ahead.
But the core difference in how they do this is that where they've both lowered the ceiling, it feels like 5 put up one of those stupid false ceilings, and now we've just lost a foot of headroom at the top of our first floor.
And it was installed 3 feet lower than it was supposed to be installed.
Exactly.
And they installed a neon light sign that says, "Isn't this ceiling just great?" with a big middle finger on it.
and if you're like if you're taller than 5'5", you kind of hit your head walking through the door to get in.
Yeah, but I think they also raised the floor too in 5 though with the combo requirement. Because even though the combos are so much easier to do, the combos in 5 are so much easier than the combos in 4.
Yeah, because you don't have
in
to
4
plank,
you
there's
didn't
no weird
you
one
didn't
frame links.
need combos to win in 4. You absolutely did not need more than a 2-piece combo, single hit into single special. That was literally
normal into fireball. If you've got that, you could.
I mean, I would honestly say there are characters in Street Fighter 4 that at a national level you could succeed with literally nothing but 2 or 3 hit combos. Like Guile, Ryu, you do not need more than a 2 or a 3 hit combo to win at a national level with a character like that. You just don't. There were also characters that you did, but then in 5, even to succeed in bronze online, you need to be able to do a 6 hit combo.
You need your bread and butter. Yeah. And like,
there are people who just don't want to do combos. I think people don't like to believe that those people exist, but there are people who like fighting games but don't want combos. I have a couple friends who, no, not even old people. I mean, I guess they're old now because they know me, but like they weren't at the time. But I have a couple friends that liked Brawl, and they actually played Brawl with me way more than they played any other game, specifically because there weren't combos. And they felt similarly about 5, where like I would combo them with Oni, like my friend Kevin, but he would just win with Stand Roundhouse and Bison because he had really good spacing. And he couldn't do a combo to save his life. Like, so you can't do that in 5. It just can't happen.
Yeah, that's the great strength that Ultimate has over a game like 5, is that there's so much nuance. There's rewards for doing things other than there's only one prescribed path in 5. If you're going to play Mika, you get in people's faces, you press stand medium, and then you charge up stand hard kick. That is how you do it. They simplified it. This is the path. Get on it.
Yep.
In a game like Ultimate, you've got agency, and I think that's why it's fun.
Well, yeah,
I can choose to throw eggs, or I can
still feels
rush
like Smash
you down.
Neutral. It still feels like Smash Neutral. The neutral in Ultimate is still quote unquote just playing Smash. Even if you're playing Melee, a game that's like super esoteric and has all the crazy combos, general Smash Neutral is really similar. You're trying to bait them to do something and whiff punish them, or get them to do nothing and go for a grab. It's very similar to how Street Fighter Neutral should be, throwing a fireball and jumping or not jumping. And if there's no fireball, it's more like Smash, where it's baiting them into hitting a button, whiff punishing that button, or dashing in really quick and going for a grab to get, advantage state or whatever you want to call it. You don't get combos off grabs in Street Fighter, but it's the same principle, generally speaking. That's still intact. But like that floor raising killed the neutral game in 5. It killed people's ability to play without learning combos. And so then all of the people, because there are a lot of people who play fighting games, the majority of people who play fighting games do want to do combos. That's why would you play a fighting game and not want to do combos? Most people would think. But it is, I think, surprising to a lot of people how many folks are out there who do like fighting games and really don't want to do more than, your 2-piece and a biscuit.
A 2-hit. Yeah.
And we saw that with 5, because like, dude, I remember my ex-girlfriend, my friend Kevin, my friend Seth, there are all these people who used to play 4 with me. They just didn't want to play 5. They played it one time and they were like, I feel like I just can't hit any buttons. All my buttons suck. And I'm like, yeah, you got to do combos, but the combos are really easy. Look at this combo. And they were like, oh, okay.
No.
But they just didn't have... No, I mean, like, they would do it, but they just don't have fun with that element of the game. They don't have fun grinding out that specific button press. They have fun moving around on screen, avoiding things, and hitting a button at the right time.
Threading the needle.
They have fun with that. And yeah, when you kill that, like, you just can't... I don't know how you could expect the game to have mass appeal. So anyway, I guess my point here, what I want to... After I've bitched about everything for a million years, is that I do want to throw a bone to the people who hate Ultimate, as much as I think they're all really stupid, because it's like literally one of the best fighting games ever made, in my opinion. I don't know how you could not like cherish it. And that, again, that doesn't mean because I think that about it. It doesn't mean that it's my favorite game. It's not. It doesn't mean that it's not without flaws or things that it needs to be held accountable for. But overall, it's so well made. But I will say that some of the things when I see some of these Smash 4 players, they'll bitch about certain things on Twitter. Their sentence is literally like, depending on the issue, sometimes it's bullshit, and sometimes it's literally like the same kind of shit that I think about 5, where I'm like, yeah, I get that, man. I do get it. Like you wanted, like you wanted this thing to stay this way, and it is just like this way now. You know,
it's not Street Fighter anymore. It's your third strike. You're saying.
I think shield grab is the closest one you could get, because shield grab, even in shield grabbing, is probably better in Melee still than it is in Ultimate, I would say. Okay. Which is interesting, because shield grabbing is really bad in Melee compared to Brawl and 4. In Brawl and Smash 4 are like, I don't even know if there's a Street Fighter analog. Shield grabbing was really fucking good in those games. Like, really, 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 really good. Too good. I agree that it was too good, personally. I think there's a happier medium, but I don't know. I don't think it's terrible now. So anyway, yeah, I don't know, man. Smash Ultimate's a great game. But yeah, it is Street Fighter V. It's just Street Fighter V's Jekyll to Street Fighter V's Hyde, right? Like it's just better, or the other way around. Excuse me.
The other way around.
Yeah. It's the same idea. It's just not as shitty.
They did it without making it suck.
They did it.
Good shit.
Considering how much other games suck when that tries to happen, they did it immaculately. And I think that's the biggest thing. Okay, yeah, no, we have to bitch about this before we go. That's the biggest thing Smashers don't get. Fucking Smasher privilege. The fucking people who play Smash, they don't play other fighting games. They have no fucking idea. They've never played Street Fighter 4 and then gotten Street Fighter 5. So I could totally see how, if you've only played Smash 4, if you've only ever played Smash 4 and then you get Smash Ultimate, you're like, oh my god. Like, you have no idea how fucking bad it can be. Like, you cute, sweet, adorable summer flower, you think you've been wronged. You have no idea.
You don't know what wrong is.
You have no idea. I think Melee to Ultimate players, Melee to Brawl players have that.
Sure.
I still like Brawl, but I will never judge any Melee player, because I think Melee to Brawl is very similar. The difference is Melee to Brawl is like if Street Fighter 4, when 5 came out, if 5 was just footsies and neutral. So then I would love it. I would be like, I fucking love this game. But I would understand. I would understand why people missed their pressure, because they did. I hated Brawl when it first came out for at least a month. I was like, dude, I can't do anything. Everything doesn't work.
I'm playing underwater.
This is horrible. So I mean, but yeah, those are different. Different realities. So anyway, I don't know. Hopefully everyone enjoyed this. Lex got almost no words in. I only had like a few minor bullet points, but you know, I beat myself, and I guess I talked for an hour about Street Fighter 5 and Smash.
All they have to do, if you guys have stuck through and listened this far, please tell us what you would like to hear about Street Fighter 5 next time.
If we
left anything out, if there's something you were like really,
there probably
curious.
isn't. This will be the podcast that breaks everyone. They're just like, this is too
I can't do it anymore.
I don't know. I feel like we get a few episodes like this every now and then.
We deserve it.
We deserve it.
After talking about heavy shit, we've earned this.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna get some food. I think Lex is probably doing the same. But this has been a cool podcast. I've been MetalMusicMan.
And I've been Professor Lex.
And we will catch you guys next time.
See ya.